Hey, my name's Laura Wansick, and welcome to my scrapbook room. So I've been scrapbooking for about 20 years, and throughout that time, I've gone through many different iterations of design and organization. When I first started scrapbooking, I started with a little plastic tub underneath my bed, and obviously now I've grown to have an entire room. And I feel like I've finally found a system that's really working for me. I have lots of tips and tricks that will maximize your time crafting and minimize your time hunting and decision making. The most important thing, if you only take one thing away from this video, it's minimize your stash. There's two quotes that I love that I want you to think about as you're going through this process. Necessity is the mother of invention, and limitations breed creativity. I really think about those when I'm thinking about my stash. There's actually a surprising relationship between how much product you have and how productive you can be. This room is located in our basement. Our basement is walkout, so I do have a small window there, which is nice for natural light on my workspace. All of the furniture in here, except for that chair and that bookcase right there, are from IKEA. I got the chair from Wayfair, and the bookcase over there is from Target. So there are basically four distinct parts of this room. This is where I store all of my albums. I do store my albums chronologically. And then down here is where I keep all of the Project Life albums. So I started in 2015 and it goes all the way to 2020. And then here are just basically annual albums. I started organizing my albums by year starting in 2006. Prior to that, it's basically just childhood, high school, and college. And then for this Target shelf, this is where I keep 6x8 and smaller sized albums. These are organized by theme in that I have December Daily right there, travel albums are right there, Week in the Life albums are there, and then these are all annual and a couple of trip ones thrown in there. This is then where all of the main scrapbook stuff is. So I have these two great pieces of furniture from IKEA. These are Alex drawer units. And then this is a dresser from IKEA that someone gave me, so I actually don't know what it's called. So I have a standing desk there, which is nice. I can see my TV while I'm working, and I get natural light if it's during the day. And I keep all of my most frequently used products within arm's reach. And then this is a section of stuff for my daughter. And then I do keep a table here in the middle, which is nice if I want to work on my computer, but have stuff going on my tabletop. It's just nice to have two different work surfaces to work on. So I opted for a standing desk because I have found that if I'm sitting, I'm less motivated to move around my space. So something that I have learned is that I must have things easily accessible or I will not use them. So for example, my Silhouette Cameo, it's plugged in and it has the cord ready to go so that whenever I want to die cut something, I just carry my laptop over, turn it on, plug it in, and I'm ready to go. If I had to pull it out of a closet or dig into a bin for it, I probably wouldn't do it because I don't have the energy or motivation to do that much work. So I organize my journaling cards by journaling and filler. So when you get a set of journaling cards, it's either going to be for writing out a story or to just fill the pocket. And so I've noticed that when I'm working and I'm looking for a card, I'm either thinking I want a card for journaling or I want a card as a filler card. So that it's really helpful for me when I get a kit to separate them out that way. Because again, knowing how you work and the way that you scrapbook and tell your stories can really inform the way that you organize your space. I regularly get rid of product, so I am a big believer in having a minimal stash. It's really important to know what you have and not have to hunt. So minimizing the time that you spend looking for something is going to maximize the time that you spend crafting. Another little trick that I have found to be really helpful is I have my guillotine trimmer here, and this is a great product. I've had this since 2005, and I have it right next to the trash can because I use this every single day. So as soon as I cut something, I can just slide it right into the trash can. Let me give you a little tour of this drawer here. So I use ink regularly because I do a lot of stamping. So I have this great tray thing. I think this is actually meant for storing cell phones for teachers, but it fits kind of a standard ink pad really well. So I've got these, and then the rest of my ink pads are over here, and they are all labeled. I used my label maker to label them on both sides so that I can easily see all of the options. These are Studio Calico and Ali Edwards brand, so they stack really nicely. These are Stamp Market, and they don't stack very well, so that's why I got this tray. And then all of my Distress Oxide inks are over here in another tray, and these are both linked in my Amazon affiliate link. So even though I have a room and lots of desk space, I find that making layouts, everything gets everywhere really quickly. So it's really important to me to be putting things away as I'm working. So having an easy place to put stuff while I'm working is really important. Whenever I get a kit, and I get a few different kits each month, I immediately go through and I pick my favorite things and the things that I think it's not likely that I'll use, and I separate them out. I think one of the reasons that people develop such a big stash of product that overwhelms them is because they feel like they need to use everything. So I would use the analogy of buying like an eyeshadow palette. So you might buy an eyeshadow palette that has 5 or 6 colors, but you actually only really love a couple of them. So after you finish those colors, it's okay to throw the palette out, right? Because those are the reasons that you bought it. So when I get a kit, I tell myself it's okay if I only use 60% of this, because it doesn't mean that you have to love everything in a kit 100%. And if you're gonna use it for something else, or if somebody else is gonna like it better, then I think it's better to get rid of it, get it out of your space, and make sure that you're really using the stuff that you have. Okay, so in the closet, I keep boxes for products that I decide that I'm just not gonna use, and I want them to find a better home. So you can see here that I'm working on box 3 that I'm filling right now of products that I'm getting rid of, and I'll do a giveaway at some point. So I have it slightly open, so if I'm working through a stash and I'm like, oh, I'm just never going to use this, or I'm sick of looking at this and not using it, I just throw it in there, and then as soon as it's full, you know, do a giveaway or, you know, ship it to somebody. I like to keep stuff in baskets within the drawers because it's easy to pull them out and then go through them. And something that I do is I sort of set limits with myself, and I say, okay, I can't have any more letter and number stickers than fit inside of this container, or I can't have any more washi tape than fits inside of this basket. Helps limit my stash and really makes me prioritize what I love. So this is a new thing that I started for 2021. So I subscribe to Ali Edwards Stories by the Month kit, and I also get the Studio Calico kits, and they're very monthly themed. And so I get a lot of product that has month-specific content. So I'm using these old Studio Calico pouches, these are what the kits come in, to put those products in the pouches, and if I don't use them one year, then I'll have them the next. So all of my February products in here, and then so forth as I sort of gather it. I found this great piece of organization from TJ Maxx. They have lots of great organization options, but it's great for storing 3x4 stamp sets. I have here a bunch of sets from Ali Edwards. These are Stories by the Month stamp sets, and they're organized by month. So every month, when it's January, and I'm working on January, for example, I pull out all of the January themed ones that are all together. As soon as I finish, I just put them in the back, and then all of my February ones are ready to go for the next month. Then as soon as February is over, I put it back, and I've got March and so forth. So I have 3 printers in this room. I have the Epson PictureMate 400, which prints up to 4x6. And that is a real workhorse. It's a great printer, especially if you do Project Life or Pocket Page scrapbooking and you want to print 3x4s or 4x6s. I've got a laser printer down here, and I really only use this for foiling. And then I've got this big horse of a machine. This is the Epson XP 15000. Prints up to 13x19, but it can also print 8.5x11. I use white cardstock for 99% of my layouts. And so I really wanted to be able to quickly grab a sheet of white cardstock, 8.5x11 or 12x12. So I found these great I think they're meant for under the pantry, like under a shelf in a pantry in the kitchen, storage, but actually it works great for 8.5 by 11 paper or 12 by 12 paper. You can see here that this goes onto the desk, so it's nice to have a tabletop that sort of covers it and is white, especially because I like to film process videos and sometimes I want a white background for that. But if I wanted to do a mixed media background, or I wanted to work on a surface where I wasn't worried about getting paint on it or staining it, I can very easily just take this off, put it somewhere else, and work on this unfinished wood. And you can see there that I have all sorts of paint markings all over the desk, and it's kind of artsy, right? But it's nice to be able to have a workspace that I'm not worried about ruining. So something else that I use all the time is white cardstock. So if I'm wanting to just make a little piece of something, stamp something and cut it out, I always want to have white cardstock scraps around. So this, again, you can find in my Amazon affiliate link, but I just keep random white cardstock strips. So if I cut something over here and the piece seems too big to waste, I just throw it in here, and then it's really easy to grab. This is kind of a fun system that I came up with. So whenever I have a number set, I go through and I put them in sections. So if I'm doing a layout about my 6-year-old, then a lot of times I'll use an E for her name, and then I'll grab a 6. So I like to have all the 6s together, all the 5s together, and so forth. Right here and easily accessible, I have my ink guide. So this shows all the different inks that I have, and I organize by color because I usually search by color. So what I did was I just nailed a nail into the desk here, and then it just hangs off of a little binder ring. I also did the same thing here with the mini ink blending tool foam tips, and I have a guide here so that I know which color goes with which, and these are what you apply onto this tool if you're going to use these for Distress Oxide or other blending products. I feel like a big question that a lot of people have is, should I break up my chipboard sets or my story kits or that kind of thing? And honestly, I mean, I don't know. I feel like you can kind of do it either way. Sometimes I'll be down to one chipboard left and I don't really want to keep the entire sheet. So this is a great place to kind of put stuff like that. And then you can also group them by type, right? Like I have all of my wooden phrases, all of my plastic phrases, some, what are these? I guess foam. But the most important thing about like a drawer like this is that I know everything that is in here. So if you said to me, where are those puffy rainbow stickers from Ali Edwards from the Play Story Kit? I would say they're right here. And I could tell you that if I was in this room or outside of this room. I know exactly where all my white words are. And I know what white words are in here for the most part. I know exactly where my epoxy stickers are. And I think, again, having a boundary of, I'm not going to have more epoxy stickers than fit in there, because you don't need more, right? I think we need less product than we think we do. And then here is where I keep all of my embossing stuff. So I have it in this little tray from the dollar store, which is nice. So if I want to emboss, I just grab this tray, I lay it there, I do my thing, and then I put it back. So in terms of the way that I organize my stamps, these two bins right here are all story kits. And you'll see that every time that I get a story stamp, I take a tab, I write the name of the theme, and I staple it to the insert here. And if you're a story stamp subscriber, I hope that you know that if you pull out the insert, there's some great prompts to think about how to use the stamps, and even some practice areas to practice the coordination that stamping sometimes requires. These, for me, are some of the hardest things to organize. So, you know, a beautiful piece of pattern paper, you use a piece, and then, well, what do I do with this random scrap? So that's why I have something like this. So this is full of random pattern paper scraps that are so cute. I don't want to get rid of them, but I'm not sure how to make them sort of easily accessible so that I can just flip through them and use them for something else. Again, the rule is, if I have more than can fit in here, then I need to get rid of it. So another really helpful addition to this room is this yellow wall tray. I got this off of Amazon. It's also available on my Amazon affiliate link. I found that I was going for these packs of paper, but it was really hard to find a way to store them. So I like having them easily accessible and by type. So they're all right there and easy to access and grab from my desk.